Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Fargo Season 3, Episode 1. It's called The Law of Vacant Places. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And it's been a long time since Season 2,
It has. It
because
has.
they shot it at a weird time, and then when it became time to do Season 3, oh crap, winter's already passed, we have to wait till next winter.
Yep. Yep.
So here we are. We are just came out of winter, really. Not by much. So they worked hard. We've got our new
Yeah, they
season of
have.
Fargo. We have Ewan McGregor playing two roles, two brothers. We have Mary Elizabeth Winstead. We have Carrie Coon. We got a whole cast. We got a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing, because it is an anthology, we go into this. Okay, we know how it's going to feel because it's Fargo.
Yeah, it's got a tone.
Noah Hawley has created a show where I know the mood that I'm going to get, but I don't know quite what the plot is. The only thing I was sure of going into this first episode is that it will be an incident. Because
Yes.
both the previous seasons have had an incident, which, at least from the perspective of the police character, has to bring them into it, has to give them an investigation.
Yeah, and I think something you also know is it's going to start off relatively normal, and things are just going to. So it'll be a small action, and it'll escalate. That's kind of what Fargo is.
Well, I mean, you say relatively normal. We did start in East Berlin in 1988.
Okay, when I say relatively normal, I mean for the characters.
Okay, yes, for the main characters, we had this opening scene. I will say, I found this Fargo theme that played at the end of that scene oddly comforting. I was like, oh, it's been so long.
Yeah,
I forgot what
there's
this
almost
sounded
for a
like.
minute where I'm like, am I watching Fargo?
Maybe- It was just, I had almost forgotten what the theme sounded like, and then it started to play. I was like, oh. And there was this weird moment of sadness where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to miss not having the season 2 characters. I really grew to like them over the over the
Yeah,
course of the season.
yeah.
But here we are. Here we are. I'm sure the relevance of that opening scene will be something that becomes apparent later on in the season.
Or not. Who knows?
Well, if the UFO's getting to go by, I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come up. But no, so where do we begin? Okay, so we got Ewan McGregor's characters. We've got two brothers who both have their own plots. They do have a scene together early on, so obviously
Yes.
they'll interact at times, but their actual plots aren't that intertwined at this point.
No, no, they're not at all.
Certainly, Ray's plot does involve his brother a little bit, in that he wants his stamp back. He wants his, because he goes to borrow money because he's engaged to Nikki, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, and Ray's a parole officer, and he met her at work, which is actually really funny because it means she's a criminal who's come in.
Yeah.
So that sets it up nicely. And I think that's the key thing here, is that it is an episode of Fargo, and the black humour and the quirkiness was there throughout.
Absolutely.
Probably my favourite funny little moment, because it's such a small, simple little thing. There's a montage of Ray working with his parolees.
Yeah, yeah, getting all the piss
Yeah,
samples.
ex-cons. What's the correct term? Parolees? Was that right?
Parolees, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but so he's getting the piss samples, and there's one of the guys. He pisses in the cup, and he shakes it off. Ray screws the lid onto the cup, and then shakes the guy's hand. It's
Yeah, I
just a
know.
simple little thing, but I started laughing really, really loudly when that
It was
happened.
like during that, there's the one guy who gets a bit on his own hand. He just shakes it off and then just walks out anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's all just so normal.
It's Fargo, with the exception of maybe the police character. They're all scum. That is what I've come to learn
Pretty much.
in this show.
That's typically what I expect from Fargo.
Yeah, Joe was killing me. So Ray wants this stamp that was left to him in the will
Yes.
from Ray and Emmett's father. But Ray demanded the car, so he gave Emmett the stamp. But now he wants the stamp back because
Yes,
he
because
wants.
cars depreciate in value.
Yeah, as we see, because the car looks like shit when we see it.
Yeah.
Again, that black humour coming in as it rolls into the frame. Uh, Speaking of comfort as well, with the opening music, just the text coming up saying this take
It's a true
place,
story, yeah.
and my favorite part that I loved the most out of that whole spiel, which is all fake by the way, it's not a true story.
Yeah,
Just pointing that out, just in case anyone thinks we actually think that. But my favorite part of that whole spiel that it says is that out of respect for the dead, the events have been told as accurate or whatever.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that part because it's suspenseful because we know people are going to die.
Yes.
Right, which we know. I mean, it's a season of Fargo, of course they are, but it sets it up. It just gives you that taste, like, okay,
Yeah.
events. There's going to be events. People are going to
I
die.
always love the bit where it just goes, where it says FX presents and then Fargo comes up and the music comes in. It's always on like a big landscape shot. It's always a great moment.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like how what Mr. Robot does as well, where it always picks a good moment for the title to come up.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a parole officer. Met Nikki. He wants to get Nikki a ring, and he hires another one of his parolees to go and steal the stamp. And you're like, oh great, this is going to go well. I can just tell.
You just know this is where it goes wrong.
Especially since this guy seems to be drunk and or high pretty much all the time, like 100% of the time.
Well, yeah, that's why he failed his piss test.
That's why he failed his piss test. Yeah. So, by the way, this was bugging me because I knew this guy, this parolee who goes on this job. I knew his face, and it was bugging the shit out of me. I was almost convinced that he was in season 1 of Fargo and I'd forgotten him, but like remembered his face, kind of thing.
Right.
Because I remember him being a very similar character. Now, I looked him up just before we started recording. It turns out I've seen this actor in about 50 goddamn things, because I was recognising things left and right. He was in Batman v Superman, he was in other stuff. But the thing I think I know him from, where I'm specifically thinking I've seen this character before, is a movie called Killing Them Softly. Because he had a very kind of similar criminal type character, with a similar goatee. He wasn't quite drunk all the time, but certainly it would have fit in a Coen Brothers-esque environment.
Right.
That was a really well shot movie. I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember it being really well shot.
Well, it's got something for it then.
Yeah, it's about two losers who botch a heist and try and get away with it, but it doesn't go very well. And they steal money from other mob bosses, so the movie's about them trying to hide from the other mob bosses. But
sounds fun.
It's pretty good though. This is worth a watch. Brad Pitt's in it. Anyway, I went on a tangent there because I just
back to Fargo.
It was bugging me because I was like, I know this guy, I know him from stuff. He was a guy in the wheelchair from Batman v Superman most recently. That's the most recent thing.
Okay.
You'd have seen him. I know your favorite movie.
Another bit where piss is relevant.
It is jars of piss. This guy's got a thing. He's typecast.
Oh, poor dude.
There's jars of piss in this production. You're perfect for the role. Now, I would argue that Ray's story, and I mean it kind of tangents into the policewoman's story as well. What was her name? Gloria. That's her name. Played by Carrie Coon. Because obviously that tangents into that as well. That splinters off from his story because he sends this guy to go and get the stamp, but he loses the note. He goes to the wrong. He goes to the wrong.
He goes
Stussy.
to Eden Garden or something instead of Eden Prairie.
Wrong town. This this is the grandfather of Gloria's child, but not her dad.
Yeah.
But because we see a couple of scenes introducing them. They're over there for dinner. It's her kid's birthday, and he gives them this little sculpture thing of the fishing dudes, fishermen, traditionally known, but I call them fisher dudes because
why not?
Because clearly I'm just wacky like that, and so we're introduced to them, and this stuff. I feel like I'm retelling a lot of plot here, but there's a lot of setup. There's a lot of setup here.
I think this happens with any anthology show.
Yeah,
where,
the first episode has
because you come in from scratch every time.
Yeah.
So,
so obviously, he goes to the wrong place. Guy dies. The cop comes back. Gloria comes back, and we get some cool stuff of her searching through the house, and she's worried.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, obviously it's well shot. We kind of expected that, given.
Yeah, it does this great thing with the superimposing the images over the top with the fading, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, did that a couple of times, and it was always really effective when it did it. So that obviously she has something to investigate now, and it's personal. It's her, it's her.
It's family.
It's family. Yeah, he's dead, but there's also a bit of mystery because she finds like a little hidey hole in the floor, and there's like the little fisherman pose or the little statue is on this book. There's a couple of books. It's like a science fiction book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting to UFOs again, unfortunately.
No.
As much as
Maybe some time travel.
I feel like he might be connected to the East Berlin.
I feel like it has to be.
That's it. I don't think he's Nah, he couldn't be the same guy. There's no way he's old enough, right? Well, maybe. How old was that guy in that scene?
Well, he said he hadn't been 20 for a while, so he must have been about 40s, 50s. He wasn't that old, was he?
He wasn't as old as 50. That guy.
No. I'm just ballparking in that sort of 40 to 50 range.
I don't know. I'd have said mid-30s to mid-40s. I'd have said in there, but not that's much of a difference. But then you add on 30. Could be. Yeah. Could be, because I feel like why is he hiding this stuff? I feel like
it does feel like that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it must be, but yeah. So that sets up there, and we don't get a whole lot. We find out, of course, the kid's dad is now gay and has so he's got like what might become his stepdad kind of situation going on, which is funny because we know someone who kind of has that situation, but very unique. But so it sets up the characters, and we get a sense of her, but we don't really get a lot of plot with her yet, because I feel like next episodes when we'll really get a lot of her as she's investigating.
Yeah, there's a case then for her to follow.
Yeah, because for most of this episode, until she goes back, and it's great suspense when she does go back, it is just a case of, so it's her kid, kind of setting up the situation. So, but back to Ray, back to his plot. So they're into playing cards. Do you have any idea what game they were playing?
I have not got a clue. I wish I knew.
I have no idea. And
I was watching it, I was like, what is this?
They were doing these things with these extra cards as well, and they had this little holder, and in each round, one was the dummy. That was like a part of the game.
Yeah, I have no idea what game this was. But
let us know if people who know card games.
I want to know, and I want to learn it, and I want to play it.
And it's a team game as well. They play it in pairs.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Used to me, but they play cards, and that's what they want to do. And I love that when the guy comes back into like Nikki's apartment, and she's like, first of all, pissed that there's a guy just walked into her apartment. I love that when she finds out that he tried to get the stamp like stolen, so he could buy her a ring. She thinks that's romantic. she's impressed.
They have this strange relationship. They're both in the bath together, but they're both on their phones.
Yeah, well, that was the funny thing. This is the first season of Fargo where we could have smartphones, because the season 1 wasn't set present day enough to have that.
Just a bit early, wasn't it?
And obviously the second season was in the 70s. So So is this interesting? We have people talking about Facebook now. She mentions Facebook.
Yeah, I do know. Holly mentioned that there's some kind of technology / anti-technology themes that play throughout this season.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I believe David Thewlis' character plays into that quite a bit.
Cool. Because so far I don't think we've had a lot of that. Obviously, it's introduced the fact that they're using Facebook, but we've not gotten a lot of it yet. But no, that's interesting. But they do a whole thing where the guy threatens them, and they have to fight him back, and eventually he just demands money and leaves. And that's when Nikki has this great idea. She's like counting. She's trying to predict when he's. And you can tell what she's going to do, because she starts like hitting the air conditioner, and she's like, right, I'm going to try and unscrew this and chip it out.
Yeah.
Eventually, it kicks it in. We get the most glorious kill scene that I could have ever hoped for in this first episode.
It is fantastic.
It harkens back to, actually, if you're a fan of the Final Destination series, there's a death in Final Destination 2, which is very similar to this, that I love. And I love this.
Yeah, I know the one you're about.
Yeah, and I love this for the same reasons. And it's a glorious visual effect. Let's just call it the splat moment. There's a good splat. I love a good splat.
I really like the one in Hot Fuzz.
I do love the one in Hot Fuzz as well. Oh, that one, of course, is comical in its nature.
Yes. Yeah.
But I do love that as well. Yes, I love that type of moment.
Do you know what I really loved about this? Before we get the splat from a side with that shot, where the camera is like inside the air conditioning unit.
It's a POV.
It's spinning around. Yeah.
It's a POV from the air conditioner.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is a really there's a few interesting bits with the camera in this episode actually, but that one really stood out.
Oh yeah, it opens right at the start. I didn't know what it was. We were inside something.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like some sort of weird tanning bed or something like that, because of the way that it was lit. And then it comes out and it's like, oh, it was inside of a mic. Okay.
Yeah, it was strange.
Sure.
And then obviously with the bit where he goes upside down at the party.
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
It's doing some inventive things.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was well directed, as you'd expect from Holly. So
yeah.
No, so that end is good, and this is the start of them actually being criminals. Obviously, she is obviously been a criminal before. That's why she has a parole officer. In fact, I loved it when she's like, "Oh, I've got a fake ID. It's okay. I won't get connected to anything." And he's like, "Wait a minute, that violates your probation." And she's like,
Really?
"Oh, good point. Yeah, I technically just accidentally got an old man killed, and we just killed this guy. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be judging."
Because all right, take the stamps and burn them, and you just know he's going to forget to burn them.
Yeah, it's going to be a plot point. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And I hope, yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how this develops because
I actually found her character to be incredibly fascinating, though.
She's interesting.
She stands out as she's already scummy, but she's very smart.
She's smart. She's obviously good with the cards. I think there's some like cheating, well, maybe not cheating, but like maybe counting. I don't know.
Yeah. She talks about how we got all these cards in a row, all like 10 hearts or whatever. I was just like, that was really lucky. It's like, was it luck or did you play something?
Yeah, I think she's also interesting because you look at her, then you look at Ray, and you go, something's not quite adding up here.
Do you know what that cracked me up? You know when she stands up naked to distract the guy with the gun?
And Ray gets distracted as well.
I mean, I can't blame him, but he just stops and stares.
You were just in a bath with her. You're presumably seeing this on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh, he just can't help himself, and I approve of that.
I also like that she's at least a little, just like, he's distracted too, but she's like, gun. I like that you're distracted, but gun.
Yeah, come on.
And then he fails miserably. The pathetic schlub.
He really does.
Oh dear.
At least he has the decency. When he starts pointing the gun at the pair of them after that, and he has the decency to stand in front of her at least.
Oh, true. He does actually care about her, which is why I'm a little bit worried that she's playing him.
Yeah, it feels more like that.
Yeah, I hope she's not.
She's the one getting the benefits, if so, because obviously he's the parole officer.
But I hope she's not, because for some reason it makes her much more interesting. See if she genuinely likes him and genuinely wants to do all this stuff and wants to marry him and whatever. This idea that they're partners in crime equals is actually really fascinating. Yeah. Like, what does she see in him? What is she attracted to specifically? Is it literally just that he's a good partner for the card game? Is that it?
It's hard to say at this point because that's kind of the whole thing with his character is he is this kind of unsuccessful guy. He doesn't really have much going for him. So
just a parole officer.
What is it that she's seen other than he's her parole officer and benefits there?
Yeah, that I don't know, but certainly I think she's the most interesting character for me at this point.
I agree.
Because she's also the one that's the most... Not that twins have... Like, obviously the cop character, we've had the cop character a couple of times now, and she's a little bit different, but I'm sure we'll see more differences.
That's kind of a Fargo staple, isn't it?
Yeah, and even like the character like Emmett, who's accidentally in with criminals now, again, it feels like a very staple of Fargo kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. Let's move on to Emmett, who... We don't know much about him at first. We know he's been married for 25 years, and we know that he is head of this company, and that they borrowed some money from someone, and they're in the black. We only really get one big scene that kind of sets up what the plot with him is going to be. And him and his right-hand man, they go out to work. This guy's come, who is a very thick English accent, but when they ask where he's from...
when he said America, I was like, sure.
I can't do it. Just do it for me, Connor. Look, where are you from?
America. It's such a heavy, like, what accent is it? It's really like down south.
Yeah, it's
south of England, like kind of dirty London.
Yeah. And I know the actor as well. I couldn't tell you where he's from, but I know his face.
Harry Potter.
Probably Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's probably his most famous thing.
Yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of accents, there was a couple of times. As Emmett, not as Ray, but as Emmett, I was noticing a smidge of Ewan McGregor's Scottish accent coming through.
I agree, but I think I like that he's doing because his accent for Emmett and Ray they're different.
They are different, yeah.
Which so I appreciate that he's gone through the effort.
In fact, it was the scene when it was Emmett and Ray talking to each other where it was coming through a little bit. I was hearing just a little bit of his Scottish accent. Yeah,
I agree. We should talk about how I think he's doing a great job differentiating the two characters. That he's completely unrecognizable.
Yeah. I mean, they're vastly different. The body language, everything like that is... is different. I don't think they needed the different accents though, because I mean, technically, brothers should probably have the same accent, but
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I
It's
get-
only slightly different.
yeah, but I guess it's another tool to differentiate them, as if the receding but long hair wasn't enough to differentiate them. But so Emmett, basically this English guy who's from the company that they took money from, is here to that wasn't a loan, that was an investment. You're now going to launder our money for us. We are a criminal organisation, and you're going to take care of us. And
They're very upfront about it.
it was funny because what it cleared up for me though is I wasn't really sure from early on in this episode if Emmett was already into criminal activity.
Yeah, it felt like he could have been.
Yeah, I thought
He has the typical successful lifestyle that maybe this was off the backs of criminal activities.
Yeah, you could see. Oh, maybe he's a crime boss, but Cole now it seems that he's not. It seems like he is shocked and appalled that he is now tied to this organisation and he can't seemingly get out of it, or they'll break his legs, possibly kill him.
Pretty much,
because that's what they do. That's what these organisations do. But that was the other main plot. So
yeah, I thought it was interesting though, because obviously I thought it was very threatening as a potential villain. Like he really had a presence.
yes, although I'm really curious about this Trout.
Yeah.
This higher up that they met with before.
It is interesting because they mentioned quite a few times actually the name.
Yeah, it's a very
They
memorable.
really
name as
want
well.
us to remember it though, don't they?
Yeah, I'm really curious about this Trout, but as for the episode overall, I liked it. Obviously, it had that Fargo style. I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead is the most interesting character. Some of the other stuff, as we said, feels like a staple of Fargo, which doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means
This is what we expect.
Yeah. I will say it didn't grab me as much as season 2 did at first.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
That's not to say that I don't necessarily think this could be better in the long run. Maybe we'll end up with a case where it's like on par with season 1, but season 2 is still the king kind of thing. Or I don't know.
It just doesn't have that shock of, is that a UFO?
It doesn't have
really just it grabs you. There's no getting away from that.
It doesn't have that, but even without the UFO, I think there was just something about the plot of season 2 right from the start that just made it a little bit.
Yeah, it's possible that maybe this first episode feels like it's riding a little bit too much on the gimmick of Ewan McGregor playing both of them.
Maybe, yeah.
And obviously, I hope that's not just it for the whole season, because he's doing a great job, but it needs more than that overall. But for a first episode, play up that gimmick, have some fun with it. That's okay.
I think it will. I think. I think this episode does play out like I'd expect an opening of Fargo. But now that we have the plot set up, we have the incident that has the cop investigating, we have this incident that sets Ray down this more criminal path, and him being partners in crime with her, and we have him hiding from from his real job that he's doing all this stuff. He's doing something he's not meant to be doing. We have on the opposite side his brother who has been forced into doing things he doesn't want to do, but doesn't actually want to be doing them.
Yeah.
And then we have your typical murder investigation. So I think it'll get more interesting from here. It was definitely solid. It definitely wasn't despite the fact that it was a longer episode. It was 65 minutes without ads. It still moved quickly. It was over before I knew it.
I paused at one point just to go get a drink, and it was like, oh, okay, it's 40 minutes. That was quick.
Yeah, it went in super quick. So I don't think. I don't think it was any less in quality. It was just waiting for the plot.
It just didn't have the extra thing that really hooks you. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. This is all good stuff. I'm definitely down for more, but that's it for now.
Yeah, but obviously I'm looking forward to episode 2. We'll see how it develops, and if we can get more sudden splats like we got in this one, I am okay
more
with
for
that.
down than that.
Yeah, so solid first episode. Just didn't grab me quite as much as season 2 did at the start, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't surpass it in time, because we have a whole season ahead of us. So let us know what you thought of the pilot, the premiere of season 3. I'm back to the fish guys caliber of discussion here.
Yeah. It's been a long night.
Yeah, apparently it has. This is the problem when it airs the same time as The Expanse. So yeah, Let us know what you thought of the season 3 premiere of Fargo in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that stuff helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuss for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for everyday ramblings. Thanks for watching, guys. Have you got any vanilla?